Draymond Green said an interesting thing yesterday. You may have seen the very important news that Draymond is not having his flagrant 2 rescinded or reduced that had him ejected from game 1. Now, you might say to yourself, all right, well, they won the game anyway, no harm, no foul. Not quite right. The way the system works in the NBA playoffs is you have an accumulation of flagrant points. Each flagrant is a point. He now has 2. When you get to 4, you get suspended for a game. And I would remind everyone that that is why he got suspended in the NBA Finals. When LeBron and the Cavaliers came back to beat them from 3-1 down, they came back for one reason and one reason only. And that is because Draymond Green had been suspended, not for kicking LeBron in the ding-ding, but because that was the flagrant that put him over the top. And as a consequence, because of all the flagrant points he had built up throughout the playoffs, he got suspended. And it flat cost his team a championship. Okay? And not just any championship. It cost his team a 73-win title. They would have to be in the discussion for greatest team in NBA history until the end of time. Because no team is going to eclipse that. No team is winning 74 games. The way they handle the NBA regular season now, I don't know that any team is going to play 74 games, much less win 74 games. So to win 73 games and cap it off with a championship, they would have staked a claim, planted a flag towards being the best team in NBA history. Now, I never would have thought they were, but that wouldn't have mattered. They would have been able to argue it, and who could argue against it? Who can argue against the 72 Dolphins? I can say I think the 85 Bears are the best team ever. And they will look at me and say, oh, yeah? Did they lose a game? I mean, I lose the argument. So the Warriors would have had that forever. And they don't because Draymond was being Draymond. So when he says, I'm never going to stop playing the way I play, which he did yesterday.
Play basketball for a living. Have an incredible family, incredible life. I'm not picked on. There's other people that's picked on. I'm no victim. I'm good money. I told y'all on my podcast, that's my reputation is a badge of honor. Not everybody can earn that reputation. So life goes on. I'm never going to change the way I play basketball. It's gotten me this far. It's gotten me 3 championships, 4 All-Stars, Defensive Player of the Year. Not going to change now.
So I get it. So for anyone who doesn't remember where Draymond Green came from, he was a second-round pick from Michigan State. I watch the Big Ten more than I watch all the other conferences in college basketball combined. If you had told me Draymond Green, when he was playing at Michigan State, was going to wind up being in the Basketball Hall of Fame, I would have said, you have never seen a basketball game in your life. And he is. And he deserves to be. To his everlasting credit, he has made himself into an unbelievably valuable player. I voted for him as an all-star starter this year. So I'm not a Draymond basher. But I guess what I'm saying is I kind of see both sides of this. I see him saying, I'm not going to change the way I go about my business. Look where it's gotten me. And he's right. But the other side of it is, you know where it also might get him? It might get him knocked out of the playoffs. He gets 2 more of those, and he gets suspended for a game in the Phoenix series that could easily be the difference between this team winning a championship and not. So where does he wind up? Let me bring Bubba in on this, because, Bubba, you're a man with a really interesting perspective on life, and I like the way you look at things. So it's sort of like rock, hard place. Draymond Green, somewhere in between them. Because if he changes the way he is, then he isn't Draymond Green anymore, and he loses all of his value because he's not a 3-and-D. He's not anything. He is like sort of a person unto himself. He plays his own game, and it's incredibly valuable. But it also could cost his team a championship. So, Bubba, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he can change. I think if he starts to change, then you're kind of getting that thing that way when it's like you can't ease up if or play halfway to try and not get injured, because that's when you get injured. It's that same mentality, because if he's not going to play all the way hard, he's just not going to be a normal Draymond. And then he's just going to be out there. It's not going to be as good. The way for Draymond to be successful is to play all out. The way Draymond is, the way he's always been. If he's not going to be that player, he's just going to be a different player. It's not going to be the way they need him to be. So I think he has to be all out, or it's just not going to be worthwhile having him out there.
What do you think, Nuno? Because there's 2 pieces to this. There's the physical piece, and we've seen, the kicks, and the other day it was the, dragging down by the jersey. There's also the yelling at the refs, all the other stuff that kind of comes with him, that comes with, I mean, you saw the way he behaved when he got thrown out of the game the other day. Can you tone any of that down and still be as effective and important as he is?
I don't think he can. I think he plays with a joy, right? Like, and I think it's been missing the last couple of years because Steph and has been hurt and Clay's been hurt, and they haven't reached this. And I think that's what he brings to the table when they're really good, and that any deviation for that, I think, affects not only him but this team. And at this point in time, you just hope it doesn't happen at the wrong time.